Okay, so here's an example of a 35mm workflow. This isn't Portra, this is Ultramax on 35mm through the Leica, so it's broadly the same. I wanted to show you this one because the starting position and the end position's quite it reflects the workflow really well. This was shot on the Leica M4P Ultramax 400 at 200 ISO in camera. I had that Dumo light meter on the top, and I think if I remember rightly, I metered for this just down here on the counter. So the same workflow again. I've got the red bounding box just inside, so I'm not catching any of the black negative to mess up with the color correction and Silverfast. Go to the top, select 48 to 24 bit. As I said in the other video, it's 3200 ppi. It's about a 40 megabyte TIFF scan. Same workflow as before. When I'm exporting out of Lightroom, it will be a JPEG. I come down and I select Kodak Portra 400. Tolerance is 85 as always. So as I said on the medium format, I use a 1 exposure bump. Let's see what 1 does. So that's 1. You're thinking that's bringing it quite to life, but on this one I actually used 1.5. There's 1.5. You can actually go to, I'll show you 2. Oops. There's 2. 2's even quite workable. What I do when I push it to 2, I'm just looking for any of that digital noise down here. It seems all right, but for this one I think I'll stick at 1.5. Oops. 1.5. Okay. Next part, again going down to the histogram box. I just want to move this shadows marker to the left, so I'm clipping the start of the data. I want the right one all of the way across to the end. It's normally at 255, and then this middle marker, that would have been, sorry, let's hit auto. I'll show you what it looks like on auto. Actually on auto it's liking that, so sometimes it's down here, but I'm going to push that up to, I said in the last video it might be 3/4 of the way, sometimes it's 2/3, but I'm thinking about there. Please forgive the dirt and the mark and the scratches. I'll clean those up in Lightroom, but again it's a little bit off-putting, but you can see how that sort of brought that picture to life. The reason why I took this shot, I like the close, you know, how grim it looked with it being closed, but I actually like the colour of this paint. This paint's a beautiful colour, sort of like a light olive colour. Okay, so there's there. Sharpness is unticked because we unticked that from the medium format, and again I would not normally click the 1:1 for the grain calculation, but let's just see what it does if I click it. I'll probably clip out the processing part from the video. Okay, what you've missed there, but you'll see when you do it on your scanner, is that when that gain, medium gain pass has run through, it's really taking out the noise here on the parts of the negative, the highlights that you've pushed with that 1.5 exposure bump. That's the magical pieces of this software, the Silverfast software. I just think it's night and day different to Negative Lav Pro, where a lot of the calculations there were the eyeball test, where there seems to be a little bit of science in here. Right, for this next part we'll flip over to Lightroom just to see the difference between tweaking this image on 35mm compared to that 120. Okay, so here we are in Lightroom with this 35mm scan. I can't really take you through the step by step by hitting reset because I did quite a lot of dust and scratch removal, but I'll go through each stage nonetheless so you can see. Okay, actually I've missed one. Okay, so pretty much as I've done with the medium format one, You can see here, this is a before and after. There's not much difference, but we'll go through it each stage. So the first point that we did on the last one was that's how it came through on as shot white balance. I elected on this one to change it to auto because key driver was this bit here, the colour of the doorway, the olive colour. I'd hit the auto basic adjustment, and that sort of pushed the exposure up to 0.56. That's how it would have come across in the shot. So I thought that I recall editing this image and I wanted to push it so you can see some of the inside shot. I could have either pushed the shadows separately, but I wanted to lift the global exposure, so I moved that up to 0.5. Shadows were brought down to -62. Again, the main driver here would have been this bit here with this blown out sign. This is pretty much an eyeball test. I'll put that down to 160. That shadows were pushed to +17. Again, that was just to lift this part of the shot. So that's the basic amendments and tweaks. Really quite an unsophisticated workflow. I'd love to say that there's a lot of technical bits that go into it, but there aren't, unfortunately. Next bit's the tone curve. On this one, you can see I've done medium. Take it back to linear. It's a very slight adjustment. But if you look here at the top of the shot here, top left-hand corner, at least along the top third of the image, does have a bit of a lift on it. What I find on these 35 neg scans is that if you push it on a strong contrast tone curve, it tends to put the colours out of whack. So just pick a bit there. Yeah, if you look at the blue logo here of this reflection, it's a very subtle shift, but I don't like the way the darker blue works, and even on that red security sign there. So I prefer medium. That's the detail bit done. Sorry, I beg your pardon, the tone curve. And then if we go to detail, this one, you've got to be probably as restrictive as you have with the medium format. So I've done a 60 sharpening. The masking I've brought up to 40. As I said in the previous one, you could push it to 50, but on this one I've elected for 40, and that is it. So hopefully this will help. I've given you the medium format and the 35mm workflow. I'm sure you'll find many ways to improve it, and if you do, and let me know, we can share the wealth a little bit. All right, cheers.